Star Companion. I'm Zach.
And I'm David.
And this is the podcast where we tackle Star Trek by Stardate. And we go through it one episode at a time. You can catch us on all major podcasting platforms, as well as the YouTube video coming soon.
That's right.
And today we're doing Star Trek Enterprise Season 1, Episode 4, Unexpected. No official star date, but it's the year 2151.
Less than a month after Archer's arrival at Kronos in the first episode.
Okay. Yes, they get a lot done.
They do. They really do. And a lot gets done in this episode, too.
A lot definitely gets done. You know, so in an interview, Brandon Braga says that this episode he absolutely fucking hates. And
it's this one.
It is the next one too. The next one's is like absolute. He's like, this is trash.
Yeah.
I don't know why we did this, but this one he just thought, why are we doing this? You know,
it was a bit unnecessary.
In my opinion, it's more of a like Season 5 fucking Next Generation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like deep into it, and it's like, well, let's let fucking Riker get pregnant. You know?
Yeah.
You know, but fourth episode in, Trip Tucker gets impregnated.
It's prego.
By a female. What do you remember? What?
Zerillian.
Zerillian. That's what it is.
Yeah, and then at the end of the episode, they have a gender reveal party too, and that's crazy. It's crazy that that's still a fad in the future.
Did you notice at the beginning of this episode that Archer's showering like it's The Bachelor?
Yeah, he is.
It's a total fucking Colton Underwood scene there.
Dad's in the shower. Mom's ordering carbonated water from the resequencer.
Do you want to give this one a quick little recap?
Sure. So, like you said, the episode starts with Archer in the shower, and the gravity plating has gone haywire, so he starts floating in the shower. And then Mom, to Paul, gets a carbonated water from the resequencer, but it comes out like black sludge.
It looked like Flint water.
Yeah, it did look like
That's my first thought.
It was straight oil. And so these malfunctions, they're actually emblematic of a larger problem that ends up culminating in an explosion in the engineering bay. And so the crew, they're trying to determine what's going on, you know, because this is a bit weird. Mm-hmm. And they find that something's disrupting their exhaust process, I guess you could say. So they decide to ignite the exhaust, and they find that a stealth ship is following them very closely. Question for you: at this point in the timeline, does stealth exist in the Star Wars universe or Star Trek universe?
So it's my understanding that eventually they show up on the Romulans, and the Romulans have stealth.
Okay.
But I don't think it's widely known.
Okay. So this isn't like a. This could be.
Yeah, it's pre-Federation, so.
Okay.
They decided, they didn't know about stealth out there. We just got Dad, searching, the waves of space.
Using his intuition, freshly showered, ready to kick ass and solve problems.
Putting out fires with the fire extinguisher.
That's right.
It's pretty campy.
About that.
I really like how in this episode they didn't just go, well, let's shoot at a tachyon beam. I feel like that seems to be always Picard's like, yo, tachyon beam. Just fucking resequence some shit, shoot a tachyon beam, and we're gonna find the fucking Borg. Or the Klingons, or the Romulans.
That's his first and last solution. Have we tried the tachyon yet?
The tachyon's the way to go. And so they find the ship behind it, and that's what's responsible for all of the anomalies
malfunctions
and fluctuations. Yeah, malfunctions in the ship. And it turns out that the people on the ship are wholly non-hostile, friendly, and just need help with their engine. And so
total sweetie pies.
little sweetie pies, and so Enterprise decides to send Trip over, but it's like a 3-hour decontainment process so he can reacclimate to the
atmosphere.
Pressurization, of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And he has a total claustrophobic sort of moment. And then to keep going through it, he ends up feeling weird, just declined sleep.
That's right. And then at the 14-minute, 10-second mark, Archer orders Trip to take a nap. Take a nap, Trip. That's an order.
Sounds like Dad.
That sounds like Dad. Someone a little sleepy?
Oh, he's a little tight. I'm not tired, Dad.
I'm not tired.
Fuck you, Dad.
So he wakes up after his sleep. It's, I guess, maybe a little nap, but he wakes up and he's ready to go. He's ready to start fixing the ship. But apparently he's also ready to start flirting with the Israeli engineer. Her name is Alen. And, they fix the ship, but at this point, Alen says, hey, you want to come check out my holodeck? And Trip says, sure. So they head over to their holodeck.
It's just so ridiculous how fixing the engine becomes a subplot.
Yeah.
And this love story becomes the main plot.
Yeah. So they go to the holodeck, and that's where they play this game where they stick their hands in these space granules together, and they can read each other's minds. And unbeknownst to Trip, he actually gets impregnated during this time.
So I have so many thoughts here. One, I understand she says, oh, I didn't know that could have happened with you. But it's a little rapey.
It is a bit rapey. Space rape.
The Jello water.
Jello,
it's just so on the nose, the sexual tension with the electricity shooting from her hands as he feeds her water.
Yeah.
Did we need to be so on the nose?
Trip definitely has something for some space strange. You know what I'm talking about?
He likes that space strange.
He's a pioneer.
Yep, that's
in his own right.
That's a Floridian for you.
Yeah.
I like how the sleeping quarters were literally like a play place.
Yeah, it's like the restroom at Google. Like the room that everybody hangs out in. Not the actual restroom, but they have
a rest room.
Yeah.
Yeah, a room of
common
rest.
area.
Yeah.
I imagine they'd have those type of beds at Google.
Major qualm here. What's up with Archer reading like he's Picard? All right, stick to water polo and your dog. You don't need this many special things about you. Next thing is going to be ordering Earl Grey. So I forget at what point it was, but it definitely seemed like Archer was using a microwave.
Oh, to microwave his food?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Shouldn't she just? I mean, you're not really wasting, right?
Yeah.
Just re-replicate that shit, my dog.
Well, in case you forgot, this is the early days of space exploration. Yeah. And they really need to drive that home. Always.
And then so fixing the engine becomes the subplot.
Yes, it does.
And Alen shows Trip the holodeck, and this is like the first time humans ever seen the holodeck, and he's in complete awe how he's on a ship, he's on their planet, he's really visualizing everything. And so they're on that boat, they share their electricity, read each other's minds, he gets pregnant, and then the
laughs ensue,
and then the engine's presumably fixed. He comes back aboard, and the next morning he wakes up and he grows a nipple
on his wrist.
Yeah. He then begins to wear pregnancy clothing.
Yeah. Maternity clothing.
Maternity wear. And he gets overly suspicious and emotional about everyone making fun of him. It's a real laugh of a time.
It is. He gets the mood swings. At a certain point, Phlox says he might have morning sickness, although that's never explored. He has an enlarged appetite, because he's eating for two.
Yep.
And, so they decide to go find the Zerillion ship again because Trip doesn't want to have this. At one point, Trip says that, he worked his whole life to become the head engineer of the Enterprise, and he had no intention of becoming a working mother, which I thought was hilarious. They end up taking so many shots at him this episode.
Yeah, no, everybody's marking on him.
Yeah.
You'll be pleased to know, since you love continuity so much, that this is the first time interspecies pregnancies ever involved a human, and the first case of a human male being pregnant.
That's right. That's what T'Pol says at the end.
Yeah. The mind-reading sequence makes mention of how Archer saved Trip's life in the Omega training mission, established in the previous episode. And then in a later episode in Oasis, T'Pol later brings up Tucker's dalliance with the female Zerillian engineer, which causes him to angrily reply, "You will never let that go."
Well, she's the one that really needles him. Like, she hits him with like 3 or 4 good lines. Like the first line she hits him with, she's like, "You were there for only 3 days and you couldn't restrain yourself." The second line she hits him with is he's telling her that Alin took him into the holodeck, and she says perhaps the next step was to have you meet her holographic parents. Which is really a slam. And then the third one, she says one of the first things a diplomat learns is to not stick his fingers where they don't belong. She really fucking pounds him. And it's just awesome.
I've got another gripe.
Yeah.
I'm just the gripe monster today.
Go for it.
So Allen explains to Tucker that the cubes she was feeding him were the closest thing to water that they had, right? Mm-hmm. But in their holographic chamber, there were two separate instances of water.
Yeah. Well, I was actually reading up on this episode, and I think maybe it was on the Star Trek Wikipedia, the Starpedia or whatever, Trekkipedia. Yeah. They said that the Zerillians came from a planet where they don't have water, and that's why they have to breathe in that other compound. But like you said, they end up on a boat on the water, so it's a little bit. There's a little bit of a disconnect there. Yeah. Also, the other thing that struck me is when Phlox is talking about how the Zerillians impregnate. They say that the mother impregnates the father. But she's the only one that gives genetic material. So it's not like sexual reproduction. It's asexual reproduction. Yeah, it's asexual. It's like the mother is the one who gives the only genetic material, which implies that maybe the Zerillians are all clones of each other, because that's the only way that you can produce asexually, is to just keep reproducing clones of yourself.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a little Star Trek biology for you.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah, I found that very interesting too, because it's like, if an organism is asexual and they're a humanoid, they probably wouldn't be able to make it that far down the evolutionary timeline.
No.
But this is space. This is the universe. Exceptions happen, and I'm willing to let that one ride.
We're going to let this one ride because,
I'm letting it ride.
The actor Trip believed that this was the episode that helped make his portrayal of Tucker memorable.
Oh, really?
For the writing staff, yeah. Making it easier to write his character in his subsequent stories. Quote, "I think from that point forward, they were really able to hear my voice coming out of Trip. They were able to hear Trip's voice."
As he's struggling with pregnancy.
Pregnancy, yeah. "You impregnated me!" What an excellent fucking storyline. The captain of the Zerillians later plays Degra.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, in the 3rd season.
Okay.
So he gets a kind of a recurring role.
Yeah.
I actually saw in an episode of DS9 recently the first role that Commander Strand played. And
cool.
I was watching it and I was like, that's fucking Jeffrey Combs, man.
There's that motherfucker.
And then I Googled it and that was his His first showing. That man's amazing.
There's that blue skin motherfucker.
That dirty fucking blue skin. And so anyway, they find the other ship, yes, behind a Klingon ship.
That's right.
Trying to re-energize their warp core.
Basically doing the same thing they were trying to do to the Enterprise.
And the Klingons are not having it, and this is the first known hostile encounter between Starfleet and Klingon. And Archer and co. negotiate the release of the ship peacefully for a trade in holodeck technology from the Xyrillians.
So the Klingons go on the holodeck, and the captain exclaims, "I can see my house from here." When he's looking over at Kronos, which I thought was excellent. This episode really has so many great one-liners.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun fucking episode. I mean, just
lighthearted.
Yeah. After the Suliban, they really try to start. So I was watching an interview, and all the writers in this season are all Voyager and DS9 writers. So they're really trying to keep that vibe of Star Trek.
Right.
And then they end up firing all of them because Berman and Braga wanted to reinvent what they could be doing with a prequel.
Interesting.
So we'll see if this sort of fun lightheartedness sticks around.
I somehow don't think it will.
Somehow, I don't think it will. Maybe the stakes get raised. My synopsis, by the way, is Trip has a baby. I liked, was it Phlox who said, when in Phalebia, do as the Phalebians do?
Yep, he did say that.
I sent them your dietary requirements. Remember to mind your manners.
That's right. As if to foreshadow what's going to happen.
My man is not doing so well over there. I've known him for 8 years and he's tough as nails.
Yeah.
Take a nap, Trip.
That's an order.
What is this? A 3D simulator of some kind?
And it's covered in that same material they used for that you put in your car to reflect the sun.
Yeah.
It's the future, everybody. So anyways, Trip convinces Alan to take the baby out, and she does, and they both go on their merry way. That's that.
Yep.
Space abortion.
Oh. You think they fixed that by then?
Well, in the next episode, they're able to fix lung cancer, so I think they're able to fix pregnancy.
Oh, man. All right. Well, are you good? You got anything else?
No, that's it. I just like this episode because it had a lot of funny lines in it. Not really, I guess, Star Trekky, but...
A little Monster of the Weeky,
Yeah, it was fun.
Lighthearted, trying to... Trip liked it, and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, it solidifies a little bit of a dynamic, a little bit of story.
Definitely. And, again, going with the theme, they just don't know what they're getting into out there in their first voyages. Anything can happen.
And, all right, well, for all of you that have made it this far, thank you all for listening.
That's
this
right.
has been the Star Companion.
You can find us.
Go ahead.
On every major podcasting platform. YouTube very soon. We also have a website, thestarcompanion.com. You can follow us on Instagram. And, yeah.
All right.
Tag along with us. We hope you enjoy it. We hope you follow us along on the timeline.